All right. So next up we have a match between Rov and Adafheyesh. Um, I have no idea what the stakes are for this match.
I do.
Um,
Uh,
all right then.
so this is Group H, which has four players in it. Rov, who's going to be considered the favorite, just based on their recent Cup success. Adafheyesh, their opponent. And then the group also has Grash, who's been a real upstart. We have our little fantasy spy party, and Grash was very popular because the history that they've had doesn't particularly show how strong they are. They've been putting a lot of study into the game. Our fourth person is Debunny 12 or Debunny 12 Vax, who has gone 0-3 in the group. So it's really a race for first and a race to get second. Third gets you nothing. It doesn't get you out of the group. You lose. So this game definitely is potentially for the winner of the group, but also if they can potentially get a tie, it also puts you in a much better position to even get out of the group, which is half the battle.
Excellent.
All
Well,
right then.
looks like our first game is gonna be Rov sniping Adafheyesh as Tex, and I'll let you two take it away.
Mine's still loading in here for just a moment.
Well, then I
Yeah,
will
I've
sit
got.
here and chat.
I am ready to go.
Okay.
Rob, Cowboy, Tex, whatever we want to call him today. In three, two, one, playing it. What's your favorite thing about Tex, Scout?
Hmm, favorite thing? I think I don't know what you call it. The wee skull that he's got around his collar. That's kind of.
Uh, I was in the Boy Scouts. I should definitely know this. Give me 4 minutes and 24 seconds, and I'll figure it out. Hmm. Rob might not do that, right? Rob might get shot here for a bug or get shot for a swap. We spent 30 seconds literally just dancing about, pretending like we're an AI who's getting our spot stolen consistently, and then decided to go to side statues, which is generally a weird choice, but in this case, we didn't get a highlight for it, so maybe Rob has done a bit of prep and realized that Ada is not willing to highlight for side statues on library and decided that's a reasonable risk to take.
The green arrow that I'm looking at has got Rov written above it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That might. Uh, so
Did I
where?
misspeak?
I think we were. Or maybe I'm just getting
Nope,
confused.
I had it wrong on
I
the
must be
scoreboard. You're
wrong.
right.
All right. We. So in the meantime, we've
Bug,
gotten
bug,
a
bug.
white flat with our ST. No bug.
We did. We took a path here near the ambassador with a drink in hand. If there was dreams of bugs, it was going to be a lot harder. Uh, if we did get something like a wrong arm bug, the drink requires that we couldn't be doing a correct bug. So there might have been attempts there, but uh, it was all on screen anyways. It probably wasn't advisable. This is 77% flirt. We are closer to general, but our second target is in fact Alice, and we're a bit behind pillar. We have the potential here for bugs or purloins in the future potentially.
Yeah, I feel like earlier when we were standing next to Amber, we could have taken that bug. This last one was being guarded, but to be honest, not many people in this library party have highlights. The only one is Twin, which is likely to be a just differentiation highlight than anything. And if we're not highlighting for statues, there's just not much suspicion going around.
Yeah, this is the nice thing about not highlighting, at least for side statues, is you just have a much cleaner party, and your highlights, at the end of the day, mean something. In this case, it's gonna be a highlight here for us and Alice. We both split at the same time, and Ada has figured out something about Rob's play that it has allowed them to take what is a very soft highlight, at least timing wise.
If we're camping flirt, it's not a terrible highlight. We have been chasing Alice around the venue a bit. We're
Yeah,
not
when I say
taking.
soft, I want to clarify. Soft doesn't mean bad, right? It Rob hasn't done anything overly suspicious. He's only got one mission and a half done. And a soft highlight is incredibly dangerous because you means you haven't been doing the things that get you hard highlights. Now you have to continue doing three more missions, four more missions, despite the fact that you have a highlight for what looks like probably flirting.
And the risk here is if Rov doesn't know that he's highlight, bugs are going to be so much harder now that we're glowing,
Banana
as
bread
is
purloin.
everything else really.
It's a white test. It does make it a bit more obvious with the
Banana
sniper what's
bread.
going on. The laser's lingering here, and I don't think we have brilliant pillar cover, despite the fact that we're kind of behind pillar. Ada sees the fade. Really, just solid game, right? You get a highlight for something that's fairly inconspicuous, and it makes the BB purloin, which is often a very powerful play, just feel a bit too neon lighty. Just look at me, I'm trying to make a play. Takes 4 low lights, and by the time, because of the fact that the banana bread was white, he comes back, and the list still isn't actually gone at that point. Parv is still trying to get the purloin completed.
Yeah, I have to say, hitting 2 whites there is also really, really not going to help your chances.
Banana
100%.
bread.
That's kind of the most unfortunate pair of whites you can get. Um,
Interestingly enough, Taft, despite his large stature, is the fastest character in the game, and Library being a very long map, that is very powerful. In addition, Taft is the biggest character in the game, so he's particularly good at blocking swaps. He isn't a particularly popular character to play, in part because he's also these same reasons are good for him to be your ambassador. But he is at his best potential on Library, and Ada has picked him for this game. We'll get it started in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
I mean, also, if you're doing color matching, Taft blends into the back time ad spot beautifully, and incidentally, we've ripped a book apparently.
Yeah, a very common but very powerful play on Library. And because we're walking this direction, book while we're walking was also on the left side of our body. Uh, we are actually hiding the book really well, but also casually, right? We're not like actively, doesn't appear like we're actively trying to hide the book from the sniper, uh, but might not be noticed here till 30 seconds, a minute into the game. And because we're on the yellow part, the right part of the party, if we return this into green, it won't look that weird.
We're making our way back across though to get a flirt. Which I like. We need the progress. It's unfortunate we have to come back to the side that this book belongs to do so, but um, getting that green flirt in is pretty important for pacing.
Yeah, a little minor etiquette break here, but given the necessity, we're slamming this in, which is very suspicious in itself. But
Banana bread.
generally, if you think that maybe the first one was noticed, slamming it in avoids the problem on the second one. Quick banana bread, fairly quick split. We are now 2.5 missions when we had 0 like 30 seconds ago.
It's unfortunate we don't hit the second green flirt, otherwise we could just inspect swap at 3 minutes left. Okay, we're highlight.
Mean camper is mean. Rav is generally considered not to be the one who's watching flirt or watching for things like activity. But Rav doesn't particularly care for Ada in this situation, and it's going to pay off in dividends when Ada tries to finish their next hardtail. There will be another hardtail simply because we have to do 5 missions, and now that you've taken this highlight, this flirt feels even more suspicious, despite the fact that we're not that close to the seduction target.
I
Quick,
like
quick
that.
reject too. Everything on here. Rob isn't a hugely behavioral player, but it's just very spy-like.
I just enjoyed that. Oh, here comes this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
4 things in a
oh,
row for Rob. Just I'm not sure if he knows all 4 of them, but there's no chance that Ada is not on his top of his list, as Hummus would say.
I very
and
much would.
and this quick activity into center statues for the inspect swap is pretty classic. I just loved that highlight flicking across. There's no way Ada knew that they were highlight. Um,
Yeah, it's a bit harder to do on Library than it is most maps. Uh, but if you can do a little bit of a flick, you can try and hide it. a hidden highlight when you're looking at in a replay is not a good sign in the same way that we were talking about in the first game. The softer or like more hidden the highlight is, the more likely it's going to come bite you in the butt later.
And indeed, both spies not quite managing to do it on library. Moving into the obviously, especially with the extra guests, spy biased courtyard though.
hmm I mean, there is less time, but there's a quick solution that's called time ad, and we'll potentially see that in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Deciding
Uh,
not to join.
yeah, Rob is just looking for something, and the end result was just us ending up at Windows 10 seconds in, taking away our ability to do things like time ads, but also flirt. We are probably just going to head over and realize our second target's not in conversation and leave again, because she's at statues. Are we just going to do a full lap? Ah, we're full NASCARing now, just trying to get a flirt. Great. A reminder, NASCAR is only if you're going left around the statue. It does not apply if you're going right around the statue. That's Republican NASCARing.
Uh, I
Most
also feel
NASCARing is Republican, but uh, let us be clear. We have
I
standards here in the SpyParty community.
I also feel like you don't get as many bonus points if you're not doing it as wheels.
Oh, if you're not doing it as wheels, and if you do less than like 2 laps, and you haven't, and if you're actually also trying to complete missions, there's definitely there's definitely ways to go about NASCAR. Uh, because we're on the topic, the big joke here is when it comes to the Spy Party community and at competitive level, if you're talking like top 50 players, right? Or yourself included, Scout. So the reality is you're watching things. You're watching Bug, you're watching Purloin, you're watching Swap, you're watching time ads, you have lots of different things that you're watching for. Someone going around the statue is never on your radar. So with something like just going around the statue as a path, like Roth did, and he really hasn't done anything else. We have 67% and nothing else to our name.
And the
The
end of
banana bread
red.
here is good. Um, you can get away with absolute murder. If you try and do that against a newer player, they don't know what they should be watching, and you're likely to get shot just for the weird path, because they don't have a priority list of things that they're dealing with. No bug there, either standing or like a twitchy walking bug from Rov, which feels a bit awkward, right? We're only down to 50 seconds left and only have a mission and a half.
I feel like a time ad is incoming.
If you have to do a
Uh,
time ad, you have to do it now. If it goes into the beep beeps, the last 30 seconds, a time ad becomes very obvious compared to somewhat obvious. Inspect swap here, but it's not framing anybody. The other option is just inspect here and then finish off on another mission. Though I'm not sure what we'd be expecting it to be. Potentially bug, just based on the camera angle of the spy. Makes a consideration, and he's gonna choose neither in particular. This is actually an incredibly terrible spot because all of the mission sites are on the other side. Ambassador and Toby. It's gonna be a die bug. 3 seconds left. It's gonna have to be a walking bug. It sticks. Now, are we not the shot? We are trying to hide on the other side of the statue. Rob's just gonna chill there. Oh no! Oh
I like.
no! Rob really just trying to hide behind the bush, get a bit of cover, really felt like they may have been suspicious. But the problem here is simply the fact that we stopped is in itself suspicious. If Ada was trying to figure out who the spy was, sees a couple people near the ambassador right at the last second. Okay, looking at Ada's camera work, they were trying to chase down Rob as they were running around the statue. Maybe running around the statue even more, or is trying to sneak in some cover there behind, say, Twin or General, would have also been an option. Uh, really, we don't see Spy Party as an FPS much, but when it is, it's always hilarious.
Yeah, I kind of want to see just more dancing. If you're starting to dance, just keep going.
I do like the idea that we're Irish and we're just trying to blend in with the bush. Just absolute, like, level 0 espionage.
I also just love this bug. The way it works out into a double walking bug is just beautiful.
Yeah, a really nice bug. If it wasn't literally at 0 seconds on the clock, I'd have nicer things to say for it. But the nice thing about like these things that happen at 0 seconds is you get an additional thing that the sniper's watching. They're also watching for time adds at that point that they aren't even watching for, say, 5 seconds left on the clock. So you'd sometimes run into a bit of cover, but the problem is as soon as you go into mission wing countdown, they know that something's happened, and lists, they check statues, and then they shoot whoever was nearest the ambassador. So really good stuff, I think, from both players. I think that both should be commended there. But only one of them gets the W. It's Ada, and they now have the lead 2-1.
Trying to continue that as Seek in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And doing another early chase down the ST and get our first plat.
Cowboy
It's
has
a
gotten a low light, and we're 15 seconds into the game. That might have been a mistake. It might, yeah. There, I think Rob assumed who the ambassador was or misclicked. Uh, so no free low lights there, and Ada has 31% in pocket. Perfect.
I'm intrigued at the decision to come here for the fake BB.
Banana
It
bread.
is, it is a fake. Um, are we gonna see highlights for assumed real? We are. Ada's gotten paid off for the play. This is going to give, if not a chance for more civilians to get shot, maybe some cover since everybody's highlight except for us, sort of idea. Um, Obviously, if one of these highlights goes and doesn't spec slate, they might just get shot, especially someone like Orange Sorry, who just also often gets bugs unexpectedly.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we're just continuing to slow play this. If we're trying to get someone else shot, it feels like just Softel's doing flat. Um, should be the play. Time ad, yes, I approve. I feel like Pone probably approves as well.
On Courtyard, I mean, the most powerful time ads are right at the very, very beginning because you can get to all four of the windows. But this sort of time ad that takes us, yeah, exactly. We are holding the briefcase, therefore we could have not time ad thanks to the low light. Time ad in the middle of the game is often noticed, but often noticed a bit too late.
And it definitely with whites, it's very easy as sniper to think that
Banana
you're
bread.
more onto it than you were. This is a nice second BB. It's only one extra low light and even more highlights for real.
Yeah, when you do a second banana bread on somewhere like Courtyard, it really throws a question mark at your opponent, the sniper. And I think the question mark was answered here by Rocker potentially being a banana split. But that's not the case. I mean, she did leave and she did the action, but she's not the spy. The spy is a low light currently holding statues, and unless we swap here, I don't think we're going to get the highlight again. The laser is sitting in a spot that feels like it could be watching the statue. Might have prevented Ada from potentially doing a swap if they wanted to. But we have plenty of time here. This could be a bug. No, Ada checks the floor, and we're just not close enough. There's no Venn diagram of the circles or anything close to it. And has 50 seconds on the clock. Nice wrong arm. And since we're low light, I think it was missed.
We were at very low light, and Sniper was indeed checking the tray at the time, double zoomed in. So that was a little bit unfortunate for the Sniper because there's two things that can get you shot as a low light. It's swapping and bugging.
Our seduction target is trying to make the game interesting for us casters. We appreciate it, Rocker, but it's not going to prevent Ada from winning this set. Goes in, takes a quick flirt, where the seduction target has another chance to run away. And since we got the low light there for the time ad into briefcase play, uh, this game was over before it started. I think if Rov had not taken the low light, it still would have been a tough ask though because of the banana breads, making people like Disney and Rocker a lot more suspicious. Kane here also at the end here with the highlight going into statues. Uh, Even if we were just a neutral light, I think this would have been a tough ask, and Rov's only real chance would have been catching the bug that he wasn't watching.
Yeah, I think on Courtyard, once you've missed the hardtail, it's a little bit difficult to recover from.
Rav agrees that Seek is a cool cat and is going to run it back with Seek here, though it's his turn. We do have no drink and Toby right behind us too, so we could see some shenanigans in three, two, one, playing it. Rob disagrees, or at least doesn't think it's worth the risk, and instead is going to come over here to the ambassador, and this is very close to being in range, if not in range. The circles don't in fact have to touch. Rob would know because of the action tests saying that he is good to go for a bug or is ready to start a bug, which is not a good thing unless you're going to be moving or the ambassador moves in the middle of the bug animation.
We're in quite a powerful spot though. I mean, we're being stared down, but a standing bug when you're just in range of the ambassador like this for such a long time is almost impossible for the sniper to guard all of the time.
The strength doesn't change the play. The bug was possible. We did it without doing the banana bread. There just wasn't that many people inside conversation for the last 30 seconds, last minute. But we've gotten away with it.
Banana
Just the
bread.
amount of time that we put into standing next to the ambassador, risking them leave every time they finish an animation, just makes it less likely that it is actually, in fact, the spy. But it was me, Seek, who was the spy. And Rob has now finished 2 missions. No flirt, but 2 missions. A really nice spot here for our players down 3-1. Or 1-3, I should say.
I feel like having that bug puts us in a really strong position. The only risk is not finishing flirt. It's not obligatory, but it's a little bit riskier to do other missions instead.
Rob, I'm going to use the word thirsty, has just taken 2 sips in the last 10 seconds and got a flirt off. It definitely feels like what the young people want out of a caster. And yeah, saying in chat that he hated this. But I think you got some necessities, right? At some point, we've got to make some play that the sniper might catch, just to be able to finish missions. And Ada's taking the highlight for middle statues. We weren't highlight for the cheeky flirt.
And at this point, if we're not shot for the center statues, we'll need to be shot for finishing flirt. And there's a Teal's busy doing stuff. There's a few people who are candidates for shots.
Yeah, I didn't love the walk towards Teal there, simply because there was nobody in that conversation. It just wasn't likely to pay off, and Rob was indeed punished for it. Windows here is much better than conversation. We do not want to get stuck in a conversation with anybody. This empty conversation would be fine potentially, but this is why this play is ugly. We're now meeting at the same bookcase twice. Ada could definitely take this shot. We do green the flirt, which is a huge deal if Ada was ever shooting for flirt. But that laser's really lingering over here. It might just be for the ambassador, but Rav has got to be sweating. Gets the win. Needed it to not go too far down this set, but double bookcase flirt and hitting both greens crucially has given Rav the win. I feel like if he hadn't hit a green on that second one, he might have gotten shot or been a real tough spot and seduction target. Had one more chance to shun him.
I just want to take a second to appreciate that bug though. That was just kind of beautiful.
Yeah, I think standing bugs are definitely something that people don't do enough, but also don't put themselves into positions that they can do. There's no cost here for Rob. Like, he's not getting that much more suspicion for standing at maximum distance away from the ambassador. And if the ambassador leaves 20 seconds late and you don't get the opportunity for a bug, it's unfortunate. Watching the sniper though, they were very much on this. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't at least eat a highlight, if not get shot for the bug, because they were watching nothing else in this area except for like they were already zoomed in for the tray. So maybe it's just the fact that he was checking to see if we purloined that we missed the bug, but uh, I feel like we should. If the laser went on to us too, I think he had it in the
Banana
back of his
bread.
mind that that was potentially a bug and just didn't really process it from the back of his mind to the front of his mind.
I just think it's beautiful the way we take a drink before doing the standing bug, and that way the arm snap back could be mistaken for just the the hand returning after taking a drink. I just love that.
Oh yeah, General there also coming in and being incredibly threatening about potentially bugging too. Definitely definitely also distraction. Needed it for Rob. Now he's only down 3-2, and Ada has to win on Ballroom, which is an okay place to get some wins, but gonna do it as boots in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And AI has taken us to early books, and AI meant that we couldn't green Purloin. That's a 0 cycle leave.
Yeah, we did this on Library. It's a bit less common on Ballroom. Shout outs to the Life Extinguisher slash Steam who just entered my lobby. What a fantastic SpyParty name. Rob himself has always been known as a Life Extinguisher, a very strong camper. Really, the big step up that we're waiting for Rob and could potentially like win this sort of tournament is if his spy can match the quality of his sniper. Um, it's been this set so far where Ada's actually been playing well and I think getting away with a few things. But generally, you're not expecting to win more than say 2 out of say 6 games against Rob. You can win half. You're in a fantastic spot to win the set.
And it looks like we might be lining up to return this book incorrectly, which I'd be surprised if it goes back in the correct bookcase after that quick rip.
Yeah, he was really quick about
I say
taking it
that.
out. And generally, if you take it out really quickly, you don't need to put it in quickly too. On Library, you can get away with it simply because you might just also be not on screen. But on something like Ballroom, there's no reason. That we put it back into the green bookcase, I just don't love. We've spent a minute with a book in hand. It means we haven't had a chance to do things like print. Not the ambassador's been nearby, but it also prevents bugs. Um, just really committing into a slow game when we had the potential just to have a decently fast game.
I wonder if we headed back to correct books just to try and get the flirt with ST who was there at the time, but
Yeah,
it,
it's a good option select, right? Like you have this book and you have a couple things you can do with it, and floating at the bookcase definitely makes it more worth it to bring it back to the green bookcase. Just in a more general sense, I don't mind the play in this particular game, but I'm just complaining. Bug. This is a different situation, right? We're so close to the ambassador. Ambassador will leave as soon as they realize they are being socially uh, encrept on during a pandemic. But uh, Rob was also watching it. I don't think there was really an opportunity there. Time ad here. I mean, he missed it the first time. Ada's just really committing to the things that worked on Library, and I don't think it's a bad plan.
I think we definitely needed this time ad. Whether or not we get suspicion for it, okay,
Yeah.
we do. I'm just not sure what our percentage win chance was without time ad.
Yeah, so the problem here isn't that we're high lit, though it's awful. It's that we're one of two people who aren't low lit. It's us and Irish, and Irish I don't think is gonna get credited with much more. Even if we do it another banana bread, she's probably already been credited for the first one. And she has a drink in hand, so her likelihood of doing more mission sites is quite unlikely.
Yeah, I think in this situation, one of our few chances is to frame her with a purloin or a swap, and
She's
neither
up
of those
against the
is going
wall
to
too,
happen.
like with the drink in hand. The chances of a purloin, including her in the chain, I would say are very unlikely. There are ways for her to die, right? Like if she goes and picks up the statue after this ambassador, we're in a great spot. But generally with framing, you want to frame people who've already done things, not rely on people who haven't done things to go get shot. Instead, it's going to be us, and we're going to get shot for this almost guaranteed. Rav, again, no patience, just shooting before we really have the chance to finish the inspect or the print. But it would have only been our third mission anyways.
Yeah, that's I think if we're transferred and then not needed to time ad, that would have been a really nice game. Just
Hmm. Exactly.
pacing bites spies a lot, and it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, I just solved the problem by doing time ads right, but that's not really a solution, especially when I think Rob was already proven that they were on the time ad and on library. They were watching for it. Uh they just misattributed it. Not time library. It was
Courtyard.
Courtyard. Sorry, they did the briefcase afterwards. Rob appears to know that the spy here in Ada is looking for time ads and taking a bit more effort to watch them, which isn't everybody's favorite thing. Time ads are often low on the priority list, uh, and it's hard to like get better at catching time ads because most players just don't do them very often. Rob
So,
has playing big hands. This is Disney, but I call him big hands because he has big hands. Uh, and it's 3-3.
yeah, Ross managed to pull it back. We're basically starting again on high rise. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Drink in hand means any sort of bug here in the transition between the left and the right side of the party is going to be a lot harder, and we're just going to end up at side statues. We'll see if Rob is going to get a highlight this time. We didn't on library, and so far we haven't gotten one on high rise either. Swap is not on, by the way. We've sorry,
Yes, it
swap
is.
is on. It's fingerprints that are off, but this time we have the ability to do purloined.
I mean, having started at statues, I wouldn't. Yeah, here we're going, just immediately finishing statues. If we can get a bug or something and just never be in conversation and go swap, I would be enthused.
In your mind, which is more spy-like? The middle statues as the first thing you do, or statue to statue where both are side statues?
I'd probably say statue to statue,
It's
but at the
weird, right?
same
Because it's the rarer thing, and rarer things are often the spy thing. This is the true AI play.
I
Uh,
am here for this.
so I will say I think this is my signature. One inspect is not a mission. You don't have to shoot for one inspect. Two inspects is uh is suspicious. Three inspects is like often a situation where they're looking for a fingerprint or a flirt or something or a swap. Four inspects is definitely an AI. No spy is dumb enough to do four inspects. Five inspects, that's a trolley spy. You can shoot them immediately.
So
This
it
could be
looks like
another cute little briefcase stop. We had one on library too. Rav, really just trying to prove the etiquette. I'm not necessarily sure if that's against Ada or just in general, but it's what an AI would do, so it's a really good thing to add into your game. This is a green
okay.
purloin. We could do purloin covering the bug potentially. The other option is banana bread would also end the game here. If Alice was to reject, we could banana bread right
Banana
after her.
bread.
Exactly, this sort of thing. The fade was seen. Alice was low lit. This needs to be a shot now, though, and Ada's on it. Fantastic stuff. No flirt done by the spy, but just counting up the missions, seeing the fade, and not being
Banana bread.
distracted by the purloin making the banana bread bad, or distracted by the banana bread missing the purloin. Ada just absolutely sniping out of his mind for these 10 seconds, and that's really the only 10 seconds
Banana
of this
bread.
game that mattered.
Yeah, I'm sad that we didn't commit to going full troll and just doing statues. But I guess not all spies are as inadvisable as I am. So
Yeah, I mean, if the reality is right, if Alice rejects this, and we've done three statues, which is pretty like AI like, right? That's the whole hope of Rob's play, and then do a banana or do a purloin, and she rejects, and then banana bread happens right after. Um, it looks very suspicious for Alice. Unfortunately, because the fade was seen, because she doesn't actually abide to our reject chain, we just get shot. When you do this sort of play, it's really nice when it's the person you're trying to frame rejects before you, because you at least know that portion, and then what you're relying on is just hitting the green test. But you don't often have that luxury. Really good shot from Ada, though. Really proud of him.
Banana bread.
and now Ada going into high rise with the exact same mission setup um, as the plainest of twins. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I've gotten really hesitant about playing twins anymore, just because I just keep on getting twin highlight every single time I play a competitive match. Most notably against Cartwright, I played twin 3 times in the first 4 games and was wondering. I didn't know who Cartwright was. He's actually a very campy player, very similar to Rav, and just kept on getting highlight at the very beginning of the game, and it was throwing me off entirely. I'm like, my pathinger is not that bad, right? Is he catching first flirts? Nope. And in this case, because we've done the inspect, we can say that no, we are the more suspicious twin. If you're ever doing twin highlights, the one doing the inspect was already getting highlight anyway, so it's not a problem. Committing
Yeah,
into a slower game with a drink take.
it's unfortunate that we're the only highlight at the party at this point. But if we're planning on doing soft tells, and if AIs oblige and some others go visit statues, then we shouldn't be too badly off.
Yeah, Ambassador touching a statue here is really nice. Just for every sense, right? We can go get that as our second print potentially, or someone could go pick it up and potentially get themselves shot. It's the sort of thing you just really like to see as a spy.
Um, beginning to, I'm doing something very rare, which is actually looking at the mission setup and realizing that prints are off.
Oh, thanks for correcting me. I appreciate it. What a
Banana
print
bread.
would do. This is potentially covering for a bug. It's very close to the range. I think we're actually outside of it.
We're definitely slow playing this though, and the thing I'm wondering is, if we go to complete statues, we're surely dead. So what's our third mission going to be?
We could be in a similar spot to Rob though, with one inspect. Um, we look like we're a potential frame target if something like a Purloin was to go off instead of someone who's actually completing. I feel like the inspects here is just not very clever, and Rov will kind of be forced to shoot if they have no one else who's suspicious. That bug does not stick. That bug is visible, and we are going to get shot for it. Rov never going to allow that. He's just too campy.
I really like the attempt though. That it actually comes out looking pretty sweet. It doesn't take, unfortunately, which is the other criterion of success with the bug. Um, but I like the idea.
Yeah. And with someone like High Rise, right, you kind of always hope that the right side and the left side of the party that they're zoomed in on the left side. But Rov was zoomed out for most of that time, just peeking at the list. One thing that you can do as a potential like to improve your game is try and do these bugs exactly as the list is being taken. But you put yourself in a harder spot where you have to now be both aware of that. The ambassador might leave. It's a generally harder spot. Uh, really, Rov was zoomed out for 9 of those 10 seconds that we could have done that bug though.
Yeah, nice camping by Rov. So snipers having traded high rise, we are into modern.
Rocker is playing Damon in this play of wits, and we're half inside the bar, which seems about right for Boots' mood motif. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Who do you think drinks the most at this party?
Well, I mean, General has been very much studied as to his drinking habits, so we have the most data on him. But
Yeah, I think General's most obvious too, right?
I mean, you see
Who
things if
who,
you're
who
in a boat,
drinks the
right?
water? Is that Seek or Wheels?
That's sick.
Maybe it's Seek. Maybe Seek is just one of those like 8 cups a day sort of people.
I guess it wasn't really what I was thinking of when you asked the question, but it does fulfill it does fulfill the question.
I mean, yeah, eight cups of alcohol is a lot. 8 cups of water I also think is a lot, but I don't know. Food pyramid stuff, things I learned 20 years ago that definitely don't apply. We have 51% flirt. Really no other potential for missions. Ambassador's been kind of hidden away, and Double Agent's been at statues. So this is about as good of a start as we can expect, and we are going to timer flirt it out. It seems like.
I don't hate this. This party hasn't been particularly great with giving us opportunities. That's a white flirt, which is a little bit of a shame that we couldn't just finish our flirt there. It does mean that we can just finish it from anywhere though, so we're in a decently good spot.
Yeah, after this flirt, I would really like if we would go somewhere. I'm just not sure where somewhere would be. If we were going to bookcase or statues, uh, the bar has gotten a lot more interesting now. There's going to be a print on there, and it looks like a little bit of a line. That might give other people to be suspicious for our potential purloin. In addition to finishing off flirt, there's going to be no print on this bar, but we are going to finish our flirt.
And we'll have joined into a bit of a bar rush, meaning using this delegate is not a terrible decision.
Yeah, sometimes on Modern, if there's just nobody's been to the bar, it's you and the person you delegate to. In this case, even if the sniper's incredibly watchful, you can still get three people suspicious if you choose the person who you met at bar uh, to go on the other side of and surround someone to at least have three people who could be suspicious, if not just get the whole bar credited. Really interesting choice here for Rob to do the sidestep over. It's very AI-like and might be more counterplay, the sort of thing that he's studied and saw that Ada has low-lit previously.
I feel like this is a play that's quite powerful against behavioralists, but I don't know. I mean, we haven't been rewarded with the low light yet.
No, we haven't been, and with something like Modern, even if the play is often rewarded by the sniper, it's never going to be fully rewarded all the time because there's just so much space that you have to be looking at on Modern that an AI or a spy doing something AI like are just not likely to get seen more often than not. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing to be doing them anyways.
We
Because
started Prince at
if they are tunneling on you, it looks nice.
we started Prince at about a minute. Um, Getting that briefcase also means that it's going to be a little bit tight for this purloin to take, but we're sending it anyway.
Banana bread.
BB split.
We're packing missions. Now the only question is if we try to finish Prince or finish some
If
other
there's
way.
a printable statue over here, we could actually finish immediately, right? We could do things like print swap. I think we were hoping for print purloin, but the banana bread covers nothing as the purloin does expire. Swap will be the fourth mission here. The laser is coming over to give us the shot. I was gonna say the highlight, but nope, that's a bullet in the back of the knee. Unpleasant place to be shot. I guess there's worse, but um, yeah, just on the fingerprints. Maybe saw the delegate too, not that it's stuck. We did green the swap. This actually would have been a very interesting finish if these snipers had any patience for these spies showing up as statues, but every time they picked up a statue, they've died immediately in this set. I
Yeah,
should say late in the game.
I'm a, yeah. These are confident snipers taking confident shots, which is not the happiest place to be in when you're a spy trying to do stuff.
A shot was a bit higher than I said, by the way. It was more into the back of the thigh, which seems less cruel than kneecapping an opponent. We have Ada playing Rocker, who previously was Damon, but is now the spy. And they have plenty of places to go. It's modern. You can be anywhere you want in three, two, one, playing it.
You can be anywhere you want on Modern. It just takes a while to get there. Is the only problem.
Yeah. Now the only place that you won't see spies go is like between the two deck chairs. Similar to what I was joking about with Rocker starting where Damon started. You can spawn there, but AI will obviously never go back there because there's no pad there, and spies won't go there because standing in places AIs won't go is a hashtag bad idea.
I'm intrigued that our first flirt is so respectful. I feel like with all the activity at statues and bar, we might have gotten away with just a close flirt and leave. But Ada's obviously been burned by getting shot for flirt pair earlier, and it's making him slow play a little, which I think is quite powerful in lowering his spy win chances.
Yeah, instinctually, because I've been doing bits at the beginning of every single game, it feels like these spies have been just having relatively reasonable starts. Things like chaos flirts, where you go in, flirt, and leave, are definitely powerful, but neither of these spies are particularly willing to do what is, I think, a high risk for medium reward play for good reason.
So we sat here, took the time of flirt, sat here a while longer, decided that we weren't going to wait for the third time of flirt, and it's statues time apparently.
Bit of a little curvy path to get to the statue, but we're playing against Rob. It's not something that we're particularly worried about. And this will be our first inspect and our highlight. Um, we've seen a lot of inspects, and we've seen a lot of people get shot for the second one. So Ada just continually committing to the same idea. and I'm interested to see what their plan is to get away with it this time. We could sidestep over to get the flirt, because this is very frustrating. That's not gonna do it. No. Uh, yeah, just too much time, and I don't think that was close enough for a white flirt anyways to be the remaining 24% that we needed, or 22%. We're now just really committing to the bit. Our third sidestep to windows, soon to be our fourth, but we've included a bug in the middle of it. The laser is preparing itself, making sure it is dead center of this body so it doesn't miss the shot. Uh, really questionable bugs at windows have, I think, been successful once on Courtyard, but we were low lit, and since have just been kind of what Rob is really hoping spies would do. I think this is his favorite thing to shoot for.
Yeah, we kind of backed ourselves into a corner time wise, and when you're running low on time, things like window bugs in the sniper's face suddenly seem like a much better idea.
Yeah, when you have like bad bugs, bugs that are just out in the open, and if the sniper is not paying attention, can somehow work. Like I put bad in quotation marks. The big thing you need to have is little wind up. You need to already be in a spot where you're close to the ambassador, so they don't have enough time to see someone approaching the ambassador. We were too far away. It took us like 2 or 3 seconds to get to the ambassador, and by that time, uh, even if it's just in your peripheral, you're going to notice as a sniper that someone's approaching the ambassador and they need to be watched. So, uh, I wouldn't have minded this play if we were like already had sidestepped closer to the ambassador, but that we sidestepped away and then try to do the bug doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's certainly punished Ada, and we are tied up again going into Terrace. Two mostly campers playing for the win here on Terrace. It will be interesting.
Yeah,
And
3-7's a big ask. Now that we have all the missions available, spies have a lot more toys. And we'll see which toys we get to play with in 3, 2, 1, playing it. We're
yeah,
now
if
10 games in, and I don't think there's been a single attempt to like frame or slow play. We're really relying on our mission wins instead of our civilian shots in this set.
I feel like on Terrace is if you're gonna do frames anywhere, Terrace is the place for them. It's one of the things to make frames work is you need the sniper to be aware of everything that went into it, and if they're missing your frame target doing stuff, it's not going to work particularly well. But Terrace is small enough that you can reasonably expect the sniper to have seen everything suspicious that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get away with the purloin and get away, I mean, not be shot for the delegate like we saw in our first set, uh, you have the ability to do a known fake banana bread, and then flirt is kind of assumed by most players in most situations. This is an amazing
Banana
banana bread,
bread.
by the way. You have to take this. It's going to be 2 low lights, but literally nobody in the other conversation means everybody got the real banana bread here. I kind of really like low lighting general here because the split is so nonsensical if you're the spy.
Camp is not low lighting general though.
No, of course not.
What?
So the reason I really like what General did is what motivation does the spy have? If you're trying to look non-suspicious, then banana splits are not the way to go about it. If you're trying to like complete a mission, going into this conversation by yourself doesn't do anything. And if you're like none of it makes any sense except for if you're an AI. 32% on the flirt means we have a total of 80. Not doesn't make sense. 82%. Uh, any flirt here should do it except for the absolute worst flirt, which is what we expect. Definitely being watched there for the behind the back, but we didn't take it. Duke is like interesting because a lot of it is animations. Do have his hands in a nice position, but I'm not sure if we got credited for it in any sense. If we did, we probably did on our next talk actually.
I'm just. It's 40 seconds. We've got. Yeah, we've got our flirt done, and now what's going to be our third mission? It doesn't look
Nobody's
like
been to
we've been.
bar. We
We're
could
not
swap
really
after
lining up for a
general,
frame.
but yeah, if we could swap after general, but the fade will look really obvious, and no, we no longer have the option. This purloin makes no sense if we take it, and if we delegate it, it's going to be a two-person where we're gonna put it into overtime. We're not even taking it. We just wanted to.
Helicopter bug is what we wanted to do.
Oh, that was a helicopter bug, and I love it.
I think right at the end there, if we'd taken the delegate, sent it off, somehow not died, and been able to do another mission to finish while the delegate was holding the clock for us, it might have been alright. If that bug had worked, it could have been sick, but it was being stared down, and also helicopter bug.
Yeah, helicopter bug is when your arm becomes the propeller, and you just try and chop the ambassador with your propeller arm. It is not good. It is fun, but fun does not always mean good. And just it didn't get a full 360. It was never gonna stick, but when you're 5 seconds left on the clock, watching the ambassador is most likely the number one thing that snipers are watching. Ada does a good job here, but it's what's expected of him. And it does mean that Ada has taken the lead. 6-5 has now put themselves into a game 12 situation, which means they can either win or draw. And a win against Rov here in this group is more or less precisely what you want if you're trying to win the group. A draw is already a good position, though. You weren't necessarily always expecting to get a result out of this game if you're Adafheyesh.
I think that yeah, Ada managing to clinch the straw is a really strong position to be in, especially against Rov. So
Do you think the score is like matches how well the players have been playing, or do you think someone's been a bit unlucky here?
you're asking me to express opinions which might be cutting, so I'm not going to go there.
Cool. I genuinely think that this has been a very close set.
I think
Be
it's
it
been very close. Snipers being on top of things, but also mostly spies just maybe being a little bit too respectful of
100%.
snipers.
Both the players, when you're playing against a camper, you can get a bit of time back. Is basically the big thing, right? You can do cheekier flirts or whatnot. I think Rov, Catch, or Ada, both players like playing library the way they did, has really affected the whole set. Where both players are like, oh, this dude's evolved his game, and has slowed down and has put themselves into these endgame situations where both players have been comfortable enough to take the shots when they've needed to or hold the shots when they've needed to. Mostly taking the shots for these guys, but Ada is now in match point. Rob still has a lot to play for here, still wanting to draw. Points will be gained or lost, marbles will be had, but it's Ada's job now as spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Drink in hand means any dream of this bug was squashed, and we're heading to Windows. We could do another time ahead, but they've not gone particularly brilliantly recently.
I was about to be amazed at the mind read lowlights, but no, that was just a missed lowlight onto Toby.
Yeah,
Ada coming into this flirt with Smallman, and Smallman's just having none of it, which hurts a bit.
uh, Smallman, ST, so funny. Yeah, there's two people going to statues. We are gonna have our flirt here eventually. Nice green test with 39%. Puts us in a comfortable spot where we shouldn't have to be stuffing ourselves into conversations late. And Orange Dress has now picked up two half missions. If you're looking to frame someone, Orange Dress might be a bit too obvious of a target, but uh, this is a lot of action from at least one AI in an otherwise very quiet game. Nobody's been to bar, so there's no real opportunity to do things like Purloin.
Are we going to swap for Orange Dress?
It's way too late. She's been away from the statue for a long time now. So
No,
the
we're
answer
not.
should be no, and the answer is no. We're just taking actually one inspect, not even taking two inspects. Uh, Inspects are kind of on the nose when you're playing on Terrace, but if you can have something that gives you less suspicion, like a fake banana bread here now, you might get away with doing inspects. Uh, Silent game also powerful, just simply not saying banana bread at all. And completing with inspects if they just don't have a count on your third mission. We lose the opportunity to do the behind the back bug. Not that I think Rob would have allowed it anyways. Um, and we are going to finish Flurry here.
This chasing is a little rough. The fact that Smallman continues to dump us means that we've had to chase him 3 times, I think, so far, which is going to look rather bad. It's now a minute. I would have said that Inspect Swap
Banana
wouldn't have
bread.
been a terrible finish. Here comes a fake that's just knocking out. Sorry, 2 good highlights, unfortunately.
Alice was talking and had been at statues. There might have been a conscious effort here to have her framed. Twin is also a highlight in that conversation. I'm interested to see if we really stuff ourselves next to someone to try and commit to a frame, or if we're just looking for options here with the delegate. Uh, I mean, bug into delegate is definitely an option. Cough into die is also an option. We don't have to 100% shoot for this. It's not a mission, but Rov sees it. Rov wants to no longer have to think about this game. Doesn't need to wait for the time head too. That was also about to happen, and would have been another good reason to shoot. We have a tie game, and oh boy, is Ada going to be kicking themselves over this last one. This was a bit of a slopster, spaghetti factory, if you will, at the end of this game.
I feel like banana bread might have just been an action priority if we were mashing that right click. That's a bit of a shame that how that one goes for Ada, but both spies have had a little bit of bad luck this set.
Yeah, I think Ada was having fun, and as I said, fun is not always good. And I think these players could have also afforded to have more fun. We saw a lot of punishing shots on Library and Ada getting punished for the time ad, and I think both players just assumed that their opponents were going to shoot them for more things that they necessarily were going to, and we saw a bit of hesitancy. And even in this last game, just really put into a tough spot here at the end of the game where we had to do 2 missions in the last 20 seconds, and just too much for Ada to really pull off, despite the very ugly. I think he was trying to do a bug and ended up doing the banana bread, which I've been absolutely known to do. So I feel for him too. But absolute shambles here in chat apparently. This will be interesting. I think this group, both you want to get out of group, but there's also a bit of incentive to potentially win the group, because I think they're matched up against the Manators group, and Manators have been playing very well here in Group I. I'm interested to see. It could potentially be Buttmeat who gets out of the group, which would be great. I don't think that many people were betting on Buttmeat to be the second place finisher in Group I. But this puts Rob and Ada in a fine spot. It's going to come down. There's a game still pending between Adafheyesh and Grash, and I think the winner of that will just take second and get out of this group, or potentially take first if it's Ada who wins and wins tiebreakers against Rob. But I think that's a really big ask based on the scores of how they dealt with the bunny. Whew. I wish Spies did more time ads. That's really my only thought right now.
I do too, especially against me, because I always stare at the clock. I don't know how to look at anything else.
Yeah, I love that was the only lesson I learned from watching you
with the eye tracker. Yeah.
Is that the eye tracker is just looking at the top more than you're looking at the ambassador, and I'm like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
This isn't how you play SpyParty.
Yeah, that's how I lose SpyParty. But I think that.
Any final thoughts there, Scout?
No, I think we've had 2 good matches. The calendar reveals that if people want more SpyParty, there is some due to start in about 3 minutes over on SpyParty fans. As you said earlier, it's a day of SpyParty.
It's a day of SpyParty. They're doing the Lotus Cup, I believe. Is that right?
It is. Lotus Cup is well over.
Right,
Hidden Cup.
I don't know. Yeah, when I was setting up the stream, there's a lot of Lotus Cup assets in there, so it's just been on my mind. Yeah.
In the first 3 groups, I believe I need to get over to the stream because I believe they're casting my group here shortly. Spoilers.
That's odd,
but
because I'm also being cast. So this will be fun.
Did we play each other? You did message me saying that GG's, but no. Teasing aside, definitely feel free to head over to the SpyParty fans, guys. If not, if you're done with Spy Party for this week, but you want more Spy Party in your future, the Summer Cup will be moving into bracket, or maybe a fourth week of groups if we're all slow and bad, here next weekend. So definitely keep an eye on this channel. Usually it's been around this time on Saturdays, but it's gonna be midday for North America on the weekend in general. Scout, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you woke up early to come here and do this, and it's been fantastic as always. Hummus, it's been nice to talk to you, nice to see you.
Yeah,
Thank you for hosting.
It's been good to hop in the host chair for the first time in a while, so I'm glad to be back.
And with that, we'll see you guys when we see you. It might just be in 2 minutes from now on the other channel, but peace out, guys.
Sounds good. Good night, everyone, or good afternoon, or good morning.